Om Shanti. Good morning, everyone. Is the voice audible?
Yes, Sarabhai.
Okay, thank you. So good morning and welcome, everyone. Today, we thought to dive deeper into Baba's Murli of 3rd February 1976. And Baba was describing about the combined form of dharma and karma. It's a very beautiful aspect that Baba has mentioned. And Baba went on to say that when I am at the confluence, when I, the soul, I am at the confluence, only then there is the balance of dharma and karma. Baba first of all defined dharma. Baba said dharma is nothing but dharana, and dharana of knowledge, dharana of remembrance, dharana of divine virtues. So Gyan, Yoga, and dharana. Baba says being an embodiment of that is dharana, dharma. And then karma is really our actions. And Baba said that without knowledge or without being at the confluence age, it's either dharma or karma. It's never both. So when there is a lot of focus on uh, dharma, religion, in the context of, in the Lokik context, then sometimes it is interpreted as karam sannyasi, Baba said. And then when it is only emphasis on karma, then there is no inculcation. It's only seva, 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 but without any inculcation. And so there are two extremes. And so I thought it's really nice for us to kind of dive deeper into, these two extremes of our effort-making life. And then Babu went on to say that, the effort of the confluence age is to really be in balance, is to stay in balance. And that's why the combined form of Lakshmi and Narayan is really a combined form of dharma and karma. And so today the thought was, let us kind of try and understand it from a very practical standpoint. What is dharma? What is karma? How do I integrate the two? How do I balance the two? Um, so we have a few slides, and maybe uh, we can go through them, and then we can also have a little discussion towards the end. So there are two aspects, dharma and karma. If you really think about it, dharma is inside my inner dimension. And karma is when I, the soul, come into actions, I'm interacting with the world outside. So where is my focus? Where is my focus? Is my focus inside or outside? So when my focus is inside on myself, and like what Baba said, on knowledge, on remembrance, on imbibing divine virtues, if that is my focus, then from that state of mind, there is a natural flow of spiritual energy. And that flow of spiritual energy can be seen in the actions. That is karma, like we see that is, right? So that every action is filled with spirituality, with spiritual vibration, and Bapdada also. So the focus is inside and the flow is outside. Sometimes we can focus outside and flow inside. Means when my focus is on what has happened, what the other person has said, on an event, on a situation. So when the focus is outside, then there is a corresponding flow of emotions inside. And those emotions could be driven by fear, anxiety, insecurity, all those. which we know are kind of wasteful thoughts and feelings. And there is a sudden flow. So this focus and flow, they go hand in hand. So if I focus inside, then there is flow outside. And if I focus outside, there is flow inside. So when there is a balance between dharma and karma, it's like my karma, my actions, um, are a flow of dharma, my stage, my dharana, my embodiment, right? It's a natural flow. Um, and so in this spiritual life, um, whatever seva we perform, again, the task is not so important. What is important is, where is my attention? Spirituality is all about training my attention. It's attention training. If I'm talking to someone, is my attention on the soul, or is my attention on what reply do I give to them? Is my attention on the task, or is my attention on Gyan, Yog, and Dharana? Is my attention on, okay, in this situation, what virtue do I share? In this situation, how can be, or how I can invoke Baba? Is my attention on different aspects of Gyan, right? And so this practical field experimentation is all about experimenting my dharma. So focus inside and flow outside. Um, and then if we really see, it's like these two worlds, right, that we are in. The inside is the invisible world, and outside is the visible world. Where is my attention? Pay attention to the invisible, change the invisible, and the visible will follow. It's not the other way around. Just like if there is anything wrong with the plant, I need to work on the roots. And when the roots are nourished properly, then the plant automatically grows properly. So it's like when I'm trying to fix anything, even in my spiritual life, where is my focus? Where is my attention? If my attention is on dharana or dharma, on all these three, Gyan, Yoga, and embodiment of virtues, if my attention is on those three, then the visible will automatically take care of by itself, especially on the field of service. It's like uh, if we have to, perform a task in a proper way, again, the emphasis has to be on the invisible. It's like this invisible is controlling the visible. So change the invisible and the visible will follow. Again, attention on dharma, and then karma automatically falls in the right place. Then I don't really have to work on, sanskars or situations. So my energy is not diverted towards all that, but my energy is really staying in my dharma, staying in my truth. Um, and then when we look a little bit deeper into this whole dynamics of coming into action, coming into interaction, um, if you really look at this model, um, being, doing, and having, being, doing, and having. So dharma is really the being. Like Baba said, being an embodiment of Gyan, Yoga, and virtues. That is my being. And that being has to influence my doing and my having. So these are three levels of consciousness: being, doing, and having. What is it that I am occupied with? I'm tasked if I'm task conscious, then I'm mostly occupied in the doing and having states of mind. And that's where a lot of conflicts will happen. That's where I'll see that, a lot of my energy is going in managing things externally, right? Which is a field of ego, doing task. If I'm constantly occupied with, okay, this program, then this event, then that event, I have to do this has to be done, that has to be done. That is karma without dharma, right? And or in having, I have this, I don't have this, what role do I have? So in having, my consciousness will be focused on what I have, what others have, what I don't have, what others don't have. So it's really a field of ego, a field of comparison, competition, etc. And that's where the karma takes the priority over dharma. And dharma is being. When being is the priority, then doing and having automatically fall into place. And that's why, like, when we communicate with each other, like in this image on the right, so the soul, the being, has all these layers or the masks of ego. And when we communicate with one another, we really have to pierce off these layers to focus on the soul, the energy, the diamond within. So that's the real spiritual effort, to stay in my dharma. So not to be influenced by anything externally, not even the role of service, not even the task, and not all these ego layers, caste, religion, culture, social status, race, age, gender, nationality, everything else. And so that's the real spiritual effort. So when Baba says to be in the combined form of dharma and karma, it's like my dharma or my being an embodiment dictates my karma. And I don't take self-respect from doing or having. So my dharma is not dictated by my karma, but my karma is dictated by my dharma. And that's where, we really look into this aspect of karma and, what Baba talks about being karma teeth and being in karam bandhan. So karma teeth is relationship of action. A life ruled by the love sees the sky. It sees that all are good and sees the virtues and the greatness of others. It sees the angelic souls, that all are immensely lovely, that all belong to God, are loved by God, and worthy to be loved by all. Their life is a celestial dance, and they help others discover their own dance. So that's karma deep. That's where my actions, my karma, are governed by my dharma. That's where it's very easy and it's very natural to pay attention to the soul, to see the angel within, and to only focus on the angel inside everyone. And so then everything is a celebration. There is no obstacle. There is nothing which is, you know, holding the soul back. It's a very pure, expression of Baba's love. And that's actually karmatit, relationship of action, or karam sambandh. And the other is karam bandhan, bondage of action. A life ruled by ego, like ego is doing and having. So life ruled by ego is a life brought down to the ground. Ego is obsessed with the story, either worrying, complaining, or indulging in the story. It is a life with stones, shells, and mud. So Karam Bandhan really is where dharma has taken the back seat, and it's only, I'm focused on karma, and that creates bondage. And that's how, without the confluence sage, like without Baba We all, even though the karma was, we'll say, um, a karma of donation, an act of charity, even that would actually create karmic accounts. It wouldn't create a mind which is free to be loved by Baba and free to love everyone. And that's why, again, uh, this dharma governing the karma is important. If we really look at balance, when Baba says balance, balance of dharma and karma, we really look at life as a balance between holding on and letting go. What I choose to hold on and what I choose to let go. Mhm. And again, it is holding on. So dharma is I'm holding on to the truth. I'm holding on to the truth. And in letting go is I'm ready to let go of all the masks of ego, all the tasks, all the masks, if I'm ready to let go. And that's really a balanced state where at every moment I'm ready to hold on to the truth, hold on to the soul, hold on to Baba. And at every moment I'm ready to let go of that which is not mine. I'm ready to let go of task consciousness. I'm ready to let go of time consciousness. I'm ready to let go of everything that is not mine. And in this balanced state is when the soul really is able to connect to Baba. Um, as we look a little bit deeper into this balancing aspect, and if we look at our yogi life, it's all about balance. In this diagram, we see that balance of being flexible, being firm, being content, being ambitious, being forgiving or to correct, lawful, lovable, generous, economical, responsible, carefree. So these are two extremes. And the effort is always to be in the balance. So if I'm loving, which is good, but if I'm too loving, I'm not detached or I'm not lawful, then that love will create dependency or attachments. If I'm too lawful and I don't balance it with love, it will create dryness, it will create lack of that belonging. And so it's all about being in balance. And that's where, when we are really soul conscious, when soul consciousness brings balance, it doesn't prioritize one over the other. Yeah. So it's like flexible outside, firm inside, lawful inside, lovable outside, correction inside, forgiving outside, right? Content and ambitious also, it's the same, right? So it's like a balance inside, outside, what I choose to hold on, what I choose to let go. Generous, economical inside, generous outside. Right? I'm carefree inside, but responsible outside. So it's very interesting to really look at this. Mhm. I'm content inside, ambitious outside. Means it's not that I stop doing anything. I'm ambitious outside, but that ambition is driven by a sense of contentment inside. So I'm not trying to be ambitious in order to fill my inner world with those feelings, but internally I'm content, and then externally I'm so ambitious. So it's the art of balance. Again, it's all about dharma and karma. Um, when we look at balance, there is a really nice way to look at balance is the balance between these four aspects. On one side is I, the other side is hand. Means one side is vision, holding on, I'm looking at, I, and the other is hand, task. I'm doing something. So I and hand. right? On the other side is head and heart. So where am I at? Am I more towards the eye? I like to visualize, I like to see things internally. Or I'm hand, I like to do things. I'm head, I like to understand things. Heart, I like to feel things. I'm emotional. And, if we really look at ourselves, it'll be, we'll have all these four components somewhere. But the idea is to really be in balance. So I can always have an entry point to spiritual journey. It could be Baba's artists. Artist means eye and heart. Means I like to see, visualize, and also feel. So that's an artist. Baba's social activists is heart and hand. I feel something and I want to act upon it. I want to do something for Baba. That's the social activism. And then hand and head. I like to understand, but then I also want to put it into practice. It's like engineers, Baba's engineers. I love to organize everything properly. And on the fourth is eye and head. It's like Baba's professors. I like to understand also, and I like to visualize also. And so, all of us, if we really look at our spiritual life, it's a balance, between all these. And there could be one entry point, and we can really resonate with one or the other, or maybe two of these four. And the journey then is to come to the center, come to the center, come to the center. And if we look at, any service team as well, whatever we are working with, we will find people with all with different specialities. Some would be artists, some would be social activists, some would be engineers, some would be professors. And for Baba Seva, all are important. And so an artist would ask the question, what? What? An artist would ask the question, what? What is it like? If I have to do something, what is it I have to do? A social activist will ask, when do I have to do? Okay, you make plans, but when do I have to execute? Engineers will say, okay, how do I do it? What is the plan? Tell me the plan. Professors will ask, why? Why do I have to do it? Now, all these four are important. And that's why, you know, when I have to be in balance, and that's how drama also helps us to be in balance. And when I am in balance, my dharma and karma are in balance, then automatically the service stays obstacle free. Then I'm able to understand where everyone is coming from, and then I'm able to mold myself accordingly. So it's like the balance again. And if we really look at another aspect of balance, and we'll see, yoga creates balance. Yoga creates balance. Just like, these different stones are able to be balanced when their center of gravity is aligned in a certain, proper direction. In the same way, when I'm properly aligned to Baba, then I am in balance. Then I'm not off balance. That's why Baba said to be in confluence is to be in balance. And confluence is I, the soul, I'm aligned to Baba, I'm aligned to the truth. And so yoga, this proper alignment, creates balance. And then I'll probably end here. When we talk about dharma and paying attention to dharma, Baba often talks about Swarup, Swadesh, and Swadharma. Swarup, Swadesh, and Swadharma. So this whole aspect of staying in my dharma, the practice behind it is again what Baba reminds us every day. Swarup, Swadesh. Swarup, my eternal form as a point of light. Swadesh, where do I come from? My eternal home. So I, the soul, a being of light, and I'm seeing myself, experiencing myself in my Swadesh, in my home of light, in the presence of Papa. And then my Swadharma naturally emerges. And this Swadharma, when I come back on the field of action, I carry with me in a very natural way. So I don't lose myself as I come into drama. Rather, my karma, my actions allow me to go deeper into my dharma. And then my dharma again makes me perform the right karma in the right consciousness. And so this balance of dharma and karma eventually allow me to experience the karmatit stage. Om Shanti. So let's take a moment with Baba. Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, family. I'd like to pause here, and if there are any thoughts, please feel free to share. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, wonderfully explained the concepts of dharma and karma, and I think the key focus is that the focus has to be inside, the invisible. That is the form, home, and automatically the nature becomes the Swarup, Swadesh, and Swadharma. That's actually the invisible, intangible aspects, which creates the visible destiny, which manifests outside in our action, in our thoughts, words, and actions. Thank you, brother. Om Shanti.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhaiji.
Om Shanti, brother. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Just amazing. I just don't know. I'm just trying to put in my intellect the way you have really brought in this knowledgeful concept of dharam and karam away from, you took me back to my SML days when all these things were really made simple through these kind of techniques. For some people, they more than a knowledgeful view, or what we call it as a scriptural view, these kind of aspects, really penetrates, they say, the intellect. And I've always been penetrated by such, even though the Gita and all is there. What really, you spoke about focus inside. Sorry, brother, I'll be very precise because I want to get so many things from you. You said focus inside. I took it more to just one word, remembrance. But you said it's going within, checking my within, like checking your roots, checking something and all. Then, as you said, if the roots are checked, twigs are fine. Like if remembrance is there, my experience is there. Okay. I just want to know, how did you just say the inside is only dharma? The inside is something more. See, dharma is just a as we know, just set of codes, spiritual laws. But there is something more than the spiritual laws which I have within me, my energy. So, can you just say what is that I should focus on? The spiritual laws or my own spiritual codes?
Mhm. Right, right. Very nice. I think, Baba in the Murli was mentioning, and Baba explained dharma to be dharana. And Baba said then dharana is being an embodiment of Gyan, an embodiment of divine virtues and remembrance. And so, if you really see in our spiritual life, Gyan is invisible, yoga is invisible, dharana is invisible. Of course, seva is, it could be visible, but real seva is also invisible. But I really feel that in that way, focus inside is this whole invisible aspect of, my journey with Baba is like on these pillars, right? How much do I really understand Baba's Gyan? How much am I applying it? How much do I spend time in remembrance? And so when we say focus inside, it's like focus on all of this. It's like focus on, everything which is invisible about the spiritual journey. So the focus has to be there. What Maya does, I feel, is Maya brings us into the visible. Maya will say, okay, this is not looking right, this is right, or this is not good, that one's actions are incorrect. It's like Maya creates a little doubt such that my attention is, brought into the visible world. And I feel that's where, the game changes. That's where, I need to again re-emphasize my focus on, on the truth, on the invisible. And when the focus is there, then the flow of spiritual energy automatically happens externally.
Nice, brother. Next, I related your invisible and visible. What I learned in, we call it as the tip of the iceberg phenomenon. There, they always say that what is invisible, that is 1/8 is above water, the remaining is below, that is undiagnosed, that is hidden. That so what is hidden? What is undiagnosed? So that is what you're saying we should focus on, because then only that 1/8 will slowly rise above and the iceberg will be clearly visible. It won't go down the water. Uh, is my approach okay?
Yeah, nice, right. I mean, even if, a very simple way to look at it, and we were discussing it a couple of days back. Let's say, someone is reacting and I'm seeing them. What are my thoughts? Do I get into the, game of, they shouldn't have done this? How come they are like this, Or do I look at the invisible? Do I look at the story of the soul? Do I look at, their part in the right perspective? Can I feel their pain? Can I see that they have a context to what they are experiencing, and to then have mercy on them? It's like, do I see the invisible, or am I just seeing the obvious? Okay, I know that maybe they're, maybe they reacted, but do I see maybe they are having a bad day? Maybe, I don't know what their situation is. And then when I look at the entire journey of the soul from Parambam to now, then I really feel everything in context, and then there is no waste thought, and so there is no karmic account created, and so there is no influence on my karma. My karma is still governed by my dharma, my focus on the invisible.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Brother, can you just screen that yoga creates that art of balance, that that uh, which where it has been depicted, the various lines where the words, yeah, where you can see the correct forgiveness is on the left side. I think I was just reflecting on that. Maybe the correction should come on the left side and the forgiveness on the right hand side, because correction is like when we are like I mean, just one thought, and second is that because forgiveness will come when we are generous. I mean, when we are forgiving, then we can be when we are forgiving, then only we can be generous and carefree and all that. Maybe in place of correction, probably forgiveness may also be written there, isn't it? So it can be swapped. Forgiveness can be swapped with the correction. I mean, and that is one point. Second is the other slide. If you can just move on to that heart, head, eye, and hand. There, that's really brought a clarity to me, because I used to often wonder whether whether it's like in yesterday's Murli also Baba had asked whether it's the those in the Baba's eyes, or those children, or those who are seated in the Baba's heart, which is more significant. And I mean, there I was wondering that who could it be more? So the answer came as like it has to be balanced. Both are significant, because suppose in Bhakti Kal we were using more of heart, but less of vision. But in Gyan Yog we have a vision, we have a aim to achieve, and where the vision, far-sightedness vision, but we are also having heart. Also. So I think this gives us that we have to be on 000 coordinate at the origin, and which is a balance of heart, head, eye, and hand. Means, yeah, balance of all the four personality traits of artists, professors, engineers, as well as social activists. So all the questions will merge, and that what, why, how, and when will merge into 00. That is the origin. Om Shanti.
Very nice. Thank you.
But brother, I took it in the way you had explained. See, when you came to that correction, you said, if I correct my inside, whatever is wrong, what I can experience outside is forgiveness. That is the energy which flows outside is forgiveness. That's why I even see your arrow head and the arrow tail. But sometimes you have these two-headed arrows also, which is sometimes a little bit, when the two-headed arrow comes, we don't know what is the inside and what is the outside. But I took it like that. If I correct my inside, I can experience the energy of forgiveness outside. That is how I took it, even though the two-headed arrow was a little. Then coming to the second, I think you gave a very good explanation. It was like the SWOT analysis circle where they show about all these strength opportunities and all. The down part, they are people who act through intelligence, through knowledge. They know everything, the knowledge, everything is there. Baba needs such people in Satyug to build buildings. And Baba wants such people. Go out, give lectures, draw them. I thought I took it more like the head. But that alone is not enough. You have to have visualize Satyug, and really that action plan That is what is the creative thing, the heart. I like this, the way you have depicted in a very different way. Some of us are very good in giving lectures. Some of us are very good in gyan. But when it comes to really go to a person and show him that love, the creative way of bringing that, what we say, that point in their intellect is hard. I don't know. That is how I took this particular chart. Brother, I just have one question which you have not shown in your chart. In dharma and karma, there are two things which I have always learned before Gyan. One is nishkam karma. Okay, so don't forget about the outside. Don't expect anything. Second is the moksha. Can you say how can that be depicted here?
Right. Yeah, I think selfless action is where, there is a complete, it's like selfless has to be effortless. One is like, some thoughts of not being selfless are coming, but I'm still, being selfless. But one is being selfless in a very natural way, like without even, kind of making any effort for it. And I feel like when I have kind of removed all the consciousness of the role and I'm completely in the soul's natural nature is selfless. So because the soul is full, the soul cannot really take anything from outside world. The soul doesn't need anything, not even one atom from the world outside. And so when I'm really full inside, I'm really full of that awareness of being a soul, then, the actions are automatically selfless. And then mukti or moksha is where there is no bondage, means my actions do not bind me into the story, right? And then when there is this purity in action, then there is no aspect of the story, no aspect of the role that is bringing or pulling the consciousness down. So the karma is is not pulling the soul into the action world. I'm safe, I'm secure in my eternal dimension, and I'm coming here as a guest, and I'm enacting, playing whatever role, and going back. And so there is, in that way, a free space. Moksha means like I'm free. I'm not dependent on the action to make myself, feel a certain way. Actions are secondary. It's like, yeah.
Om Shanti, brother.
Om Shanti.
If I may just say a few things. Firstly, it was very nice the way you have explained, very key points, very interesting. But just going by what was just asked, in the name of dharma, when many of us are on the spiritual path and we are trying to do our best to evolve in a very karmic world where there is so much of action required, the challenge is when you see everything in God's light, that is absolutely acceptable. Baba's light, what you explained on your screen for karma teeth, see everybody as loving children of God, and that is actually really the nicest way to get around the doubts and problems that come into your life. However, when it comes to action, actually when you execute an action, is that better than inaction? Because at times when we are on the spiritual path, it appears that if I only keep meditating and doing remembrance, which actually I should be doing along with the action, so that my action is pure. But there are also a school of thought that actually, if you don't take that action, you're safe because you're not getting into any karmic bondage. Do you understand what I'm asking? So it's in a way a little fearful approach that why even get into an action. It's safest to just be in your own home in meditation and just avoid the action.
Right.
And that is the purest way of, and then this is a difficult decision. when
Yeah.
to take the action and when to just sit peacefully meditating and just don't take any action. Let things be the way they are. How do you
Right.
view this?
That's a very good question. We can all relate to it, right? There are times when we feel, oh, studied. But I think really I feel is, of course, like if, you know, going into a gathering or, it creates a lot of maya, a lot of obstacles and, conflicts, then it's best to, space out a little bit, definitely. But then after a certain point, it's like when I've made effort on the self, then how do I know, how to move forward is when I come into a gathering and then I rub shoulders with others and then I realize where is it that I need to grow more. Then that actually allows me to learn and grow. Without coming into action, it's like I have not experimented what I'm learning. So experiment is important. Of course, I will fail at times, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't experiment, because only through experiments is where I'm learning and growing. Because we all have these, this burden of actions from the last 63 births that needs to be settled, and that can only be settled, when we really come into the action. And so that's why coming into action is also very important. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Brother, can this also be like the sister asked a question? If
Hmm.
suppose I just sit like that in meditation, why that's a really sometimes it happens. Why create a bondage? What do I know? What is there in that outside world? What is going to take me back? It is like that same iceberg thing. If scientists were not to look at the invisible, that hidden diseases down, never will those diseases be solved. Everything, see, whenever a disease comes out, what did they do in COVID? They went down to find out what was the root cause. If suppose I just said, no, it's okay, death is imminent, let it happen, it will happen, then I think uh, every, even that tip which you say 1/8 also will go below water. Can I take it like that?
Yeah, no, that's right. I do feel that, what happens for me, what I feel is, when I really made effort on the self, on dharma, then naturally a feeling comes where the soul feels full and then it wants to express in a very natural way. And then coming out, interacting with others, doing seva, planning for projects, things like that. It will happen on its own. It will happen naturally. That's why if you look at Baba's Murli, first 70-80% Baba will just focus on the stage, building the stage. And towards the end, Baba will still talk about seva. Baba will say, okay, what is the newness you are doing? Okay, what is the new program you want to do? Baba will still focus on those things because they are also important. It's like a balance has to be there, but the priority has to be, on the stage. And then Baba will also say, if you're doing seva, if it brings you in conflict, that's not seva. know, Baba will say that as well. It's like, again, it's like the focus. I cannot really avoid coming outside. I have to be outside. But the focus, of course, I mean, if it is creating a lot of situations and things, then if it is avoidable, then it's best not to do that. So it's also good that way. Like, for example, now after COVID, there's no point, just being obsessed by the action and doing, okay, I want to do this program, I want to do this mega program, that mega program. So that also can really bring us into extroversion. But really the time is now to be more introverted. So on that perspective, which is this is right. But again, there has to be a balance and I shouldn't avoid. That's why Baba said not to be a karam sannyasi. But I also feel, in a way, again, like just following the daily routine, of Brahmin life is my action, and I'm getting up in the morning, doing everything according to Srimad. Then, of course, we have work to do, we have seva to do at the center. So everything we are doing, right? So in that way, we are anyway doing the action. So, but we just do it in the right consciousness. That's it. Mhm.
Sarabhai, isn't this been explained in the slide where you mentioned about being, having, doing, where there's an arrow which speaks about only being, doing, and having. No, if you're only doing and having, it's actually somewhere or the other speaks about ego or subtle ego. But only when what being is where the transformation happens, having and doing will reflect all by itself. So this again goes back to the first slide where you'd mentioned about focusing inside and things will flow outside.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Right.
So, brother, in fact, this slide is so nice. The one which, the circles on the left, the being, doing, having. So, this actually makes me reflect that if you are just in your own being, but with full remembrance, the doing and having will automatically flow with the right dharma and with the right karma. Like, that's what I'm seeing in this picture. I don't know how in which context you were also making this, but I'm just seeing this as if I use the key of remembrance and I'm just being there in the daily life, but I don't stop doing. I keep doing because that is why I'm on this earth. Otherwise, I could be just in the angelic world in a very different dimension. The fact that I'm on this earth is to do. I can't get away from the doing. I even can't get away from the having to an extent to facilitate the doing. But as long as the being is the focus, it will just translate into the pure thought, pure action, pure remembrance, is what I see over here. Correct me if my.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But very nice, very nicely presented. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Here, this also depicts, similar reflection is that being is actually being incorporeal, and that is signified by the supreme abode, that is Param Dham, the incorporeal world, the soul world. So that's the root of the soul consciousness. And as we graduate outwards, then it automatically becomes that in actions that comes manifests in actions like doing and having. That can be little more. I am going outside, I'm going away from my, you can say, uh, the soul consciousness. And so Baba says, come to this world, play the part, and go back to the core, and then again revitalize yourself, re-energize, and then again play the part. So the energy or the consciousness has to be brought from the core, implemented in the global level, and again come back to the core. So every part or every act which we play will reflect the core. The core will be reflected. The soul consciousness will reflect in every word, every action, every thought, and every energy which we are radiating. So the core is important. Like in a sun, the core is important. Core decides whether it's a normal star or it's a sun.
True.
Isn't it? So I think this also depicts the significance of the core rather than the outer shell. In the outer shell, there are a lot of distractions because of the ego, and the core is egoless. Therefore, it has got unlimited impact, unlimited dimension.
Right. Thank you, Bhai. Thank you.
Sarabhai, in the interest of time, invite you to take on meditation.
Sure. So let's take a moment with Baba. as we come back to the awareness of our eternal truth. I, the being, in my Swarup as a point of light, in my Swadesh, in my home of light, completely free, completely myself, above and beyond the gravity of the whole world. This is where I, the soul, belong. Soaking in Baba's love, Baba's presence, Baba's vibrations. Baba's love makes me stay in my dharma. And on the field of action, this dharma is reflected in my karma. And through our actions, all of us reveal Baba. Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, family. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, Saurabhai. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Till that time, have a lovely day.